Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me okay. Thank you for joining us for the class tonight. If you are new to Zoom, there's a chat option. So at any time, if you want to let me know something, tell me that I'm frozen up, tell me that you can't hear me, or just have a question, feel free to pop it in the chat group and I will get to that as I can. And we are recording this, so I will put the replay up as soon as I can, as soon as it converts and all that. And you can check back for any information you might have missed, but you may want to have something to take notes with tonight's class because I'm going to give you guys quite a bit of information. I want to value your time, so I will keep this as quick as possible. And you can feel free to reach out with questions at any time. I'm just going to ask everybody to keep yourself muted so that we can hear what's going on with the class, and just make sure that use the chat option if you have any questions. If you scroll over or swipe over your screen, you should see a little chat box option. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Before we get started, I've got some questions from emails and messages that I will be answering in the class tonight as well. And once the recording is done, you guys are welcome to also share the link to this class if you found it helpful, or if you know somebody that might find it helpful. So I'm really excited to share this about this with you guys tonight, because it has been incredibly valuable for my family. And I feel like, I will be honest, if I had known that this existed, I might not have spent the thousands of dollars that I did on naturopathy schooling. Not to say that it wasn't valuable, but it was really honestly just a lot of just for technical reasons. And because a lot of the stuff that I learn that I help people out the most with is stuff that I've researched separately, or little devices like this. So I really feel that it really does have a lot of value, and I can't stress that enough. So let me just share with you guys a little bit about this. I'm going to, let's see here, figure out how to do some screen sharing really quick. So it's being really wonky with me tonight. Let's see here. Okay, I'm having an issue with this one real quick. It's not letting me scroll. So let me just get this worked out. Let me know if you guys have any questions. All right, I just want to try to get this on full screen here. All right, let me try something else. So I'm going to talk about it too, and you can see, you should still be able to see my camera on the screen too. And so I'll show you a little bit about this device and how we use it and things like that. I'm going to stop screen sharing for just a second because I'm having an issue getting this to come up. So let me see here. Let me see if I can fix this really quick. So we're going to talk about what this is. What do we even, use it for? And it appears that I've lost my presentation. Okay, so, I'm having a major glitch. I'm sorry about that right now. Okay, so this is a biofeedback, or it's also called a galvanic skin response or pressure sensor scanner that uses Bluetooth technology. And it's got technology that's very similar to the Fitbit and things like that that you see a lot, that are used, things that you use at the gym to check your heart rate, and things like that. So it's pretty similar to that in some ways. And what it does is, now this is kind of where some people get a little confused, is it's introducing stimuli into the body, which creates a response in the body. And so basically what is happening is that products, things for our health, they have these magnetic or electronic responses in the body. And wow, my PowerPoint's gone. I'm so sad. And what it does is it basically just throws those into the body, and it figures out how to, you know, like how the body is responding to those electrical responses. So this is all about electrical responses and things like that. And I just need to see if I'm having some major, my presentation was pulled up on my computer, but it wasn't letting me access them. And then when I went to pull it up separately, it's not showing it for me. So I think it's actually totally gone. So I guess I don't have something for you guys, which totally stinks, but I'm gonna do this anyway. So what this is I wonder how if I can, let me just, so I have an electric response video that I want to see if I can pull up for you guys, because there's this really amazing way that the things work in the body. And I think that for me, I was very skeptical about it until I understood how this works. And so for me, it helped out. I'm going to see if I can pull it up for you guys, because what happens is when something is introduced into the body has certain receptors, and when something fits in it, do you remember like when kids had those block or those octagon or whatever shaped things that they would put little different shapes in the holes? It's kind of like that, but it's a little bit different too, because things would actually open up. So when the body is introduced into something that it really kind of needs or it responds to very well, it goes into these little, it fits perfectly into these little things in the body. And then once it does, it activates this electric response. And I'm just gonna see if I can share this video with you guys really quick. Let's see here. So can you guys see this okay? I'm gonna see if it'll let me play it. So this is just an example of the, just a part of the body. I think, I'm trying to remember what it was. It was just like some receptors in the body. And so when something's introduced, this is a video by Dr. Mike Buke. So what's happening is that when the body's responding well to something, it's creating those electronic responses in the body, and it signals to the body. Whoops, I should probably, sorry about that. So the items, when they are introduced into the body through the scanner, it is simulating the strongest electrical response that comes up on the scan results. So I'm not even sure how to do this without my PowerPoint. I had some really great pictures for you guys, and it's just completely gone. The presentation is completely disappeared from my computer. So I'm gonna see if I can pull them up on my phone for you guys to look at here. The results, when they come up on the scan, they show up in priority order. So it's prioritizing what the body needs. And so you can see the device here. It has the pad here and the pad here that need to be up against the body's skin in order to get a reading. And so we have found that it works fine with just using this. This part doesn't have to be touched, and so that comes in handy when we use it with babies or animals. Sometimes with babies, what we'll do is we'll just put this like skin down inside their sock or something that will hold it tight to their body, because we know that it's hard to get them to hold still. So we will do that for babies, and then also for animals, like Sometimes where there's a spot on the animal that it doesn't have a lot of fur, it works good to just hold that part up against them. So like in the ears, we've done it in the ears of long-eared rabbits and goats even. The dogs and cats are a little bit tougher depending on how thick their fur is and things like that. So, but it can be used on all kinds of species and things like that. So when we use it, it will, so basically we turn it on. It has a charging thing in it too. And so this is all you need to teach somebody about it, or, you know, to take it somewhere and do a scan on someone. And so once you have this on here, then you will run a scan, and it gives you an option of the different settings. And so on the settings, let me see if I can, on the settings, you can, all right. So there's a setting on there where you can actually choose how many products. I'm going to see if I can turn the light down here and you can see this a little bit better. Nope, that's not working. So there's options on here to have different settings. Wow, that's really too bright. So I super apologize. I had a good PowerPoint showing this and I'm not sure what happened to it. So you can choose 3, 5, 7, or 10 products for it to bring up. And all you do when you are going to scan yourself or somebody else is you only enter in your name and then a contact, like an email or a phone, because it will automatically send the report, and then age and gender. And so it doesn't need a health history or anything. So that said, it does have a setting for pregnancy, but personally, I don't like whatever comes up in pregnancy. It doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, it doesn't mean that those things are guaranteed to be fine for pregnancy. That's up to each person's discretion and research to determine that. So when I'm running a scan, I personally choose 5 to 7 instead of 3 or 10, because I feel like we need enough of a picture to see what's going on with someone, and we don't want too few that we don't get enough of a picture, but we don't want too many because that can be really overwhelming. But again, it depends on the person, it depends on the situation, so you can change that setting at any time to decide how you want to you know, use it for that situation. So when the iTovi scanner, it's called an iTovi scanner, and when it's used, you actually, when you first get it, you pick a company, because it has an assortment of companies that it uses in conjunction with the results, so that you can it can recommend certain products. And so there are 1, 2, 3, 4 companies that they work with. And what iTovi has done, as they're not a part of any of these companies, is they have basically purchased all of the products from those companies, and they have input the data into the system, and, you know, the recording of the products and things like that, and how they're going to generate or create that response in our body for the stimuli introduction. And so the 4 companies that they use are Young Living, doTERRA, Ameo, I'm not totally sure how to say that, and then Nature's Sunshine. And so when you order one, you will pick which company that you would like it to show. And so I can look at the results from any of those companies and put together a picture of what the body is trying to say. And so when you are running the scan, let's go through that and what it looks like. So you would turn it on, you would click the option on the phone to run a scan, and then it's going to, you're just going to hold it for a few minutes. It's going to buzz when it starts, and then there's going to be a flashing light on it on the bottom, and then when it's done, it will buzz again. It takes about, it depends on the person. For children, it only takes about a minute. For adults, it takes about 2 minutes. And so once you're done with it, then the results will come up on the scan, and there's that setting to have them automatically sent to somebody so they can review them and have them themselves. And when you come up with the results, now I really am super bummed that I can't find the picture or the PowerPoint that I had, but I'm going to see if I can find some pictures to show you guys about the results, because when we're looking at the results, here's what we do. Now, we can do this based on whatever company is being used, because if there are a number of products that come up and they fall under one of the categories, it shows body systems. And so we can look at the body systems and it'll say like the digestive system has the most products that came up. And so that tells us that we really need to just give the digestive system some support. And so we can do that with whatever products we need to, or we want to, or we have on hand. And so you can use it separately from the specific products that come up. Obviously, you'll get the best results by utilizing exactly what it says. And I will say that we've found some of the time, even for me and all the extensive research I've done, something will come up on the scan and I will say that makes no sense to me. And we will use it and we will see immediate results. And we will see better results using that than something that I would have thought, hey, my research says this for that, so I'm going to use that, and maybe didn't see results from, and then we see something else. And later down the road, I'll come across, you know, new research or a different reference book or something, and it'll have something, and I'll go, well, now it makes sense. So I'm glad that it knows all that, because I'm never going to know all that, and we don't have to know all that. It kind of just knows it for us, and the body knows. The body doesn't lie. So we're just tapping into what the body knows and being able to utilize that when we're assessing things. So in my family, we've had situations, for instance, we've had a child who suddenly, once every couple of months, would come out with this respiratory attack type of thing. And we were like, what do we do? What's going on with this? We've never dealt with this before out of 6 kids. And so it's times like that where we're really grateful to have on hand when the flu is going around or when these other things are going around. We have this on hand and we can just go, you know, how can we support the body the best way possible with what we have, and go from there. One of the disclaimers that I want to say is that the results aren't any kind of diagnostic tool, or they're not saying that you should use them instead of seeking medical attention or anything like that. It's basically just a complementary to whatever other modalities or health paths that we're going to pursue or we feel like we need to utilize in those situations. So I don't ever want to say that this is like a replacement for anything. It's just really an empowering tool that's going to help us be able to just really target and pinpoint what natural things are going to support the situation at hand. So I'm going to share this scan here really quick. And this is just kind of an example of, it's just on my Facebook page because I can't figure out how to get it on my PowerPoint. So this is one of the parts that comes up, and I hope you guys can see this. Let me know if you can't. So let me just check here real quick. Okay, so this is just, there's 3 categories at the top. You can see the report is the part that pulls up the top 3, 5, 7, or 10 products that your body is responding to best. The middle category is emotions, and the last category is body systems. So this is an example of when one of my kiddos was having that respiratory attack that I showed you, or that I talked about. And so you can see that there were, that respiratory scored high on his scan. So pretty surprising for people who, you know, for me, when I was skeptical of this device. When those bars, the number of bars on there represent the number of products that came up on the scan that support that area of health. So with the 5 bars, that means in the top, I think it's like 20 or 30 products, because it will technically scan for that many, but it will only bring up the top, you know, 3, 5, 7, or 10 that you choose. But it's saying that these are the things that would support that body system the most. And so I can click on that part of it, and I'm going to see if it'll let me pull this up too. So let's see, that wasn't it. So this is where the settings are, the 3, 5, 7, and 10. And so like this was the one where I would click on this, that respiratory tab, and then you can see it all listed out exactly what to support at that moment for the body. And so some of these, you know, you might know peppermint, eucalyptus, a blend of RC, which is a blend of different like eucalyptus oils and things like that, makes sense in this situation. So that's an example, but it makes sense. And so what would we do in a situation like this? This isn't going to tell you how much. It's not a dosage thing because it's not diagnostic. So it's not going to give you dosages. It's not going to give you application sites or recommendations or anything like that. So that's when we go to our reference materials and or just read the label on the product and utilize it as it's meant to be utilized. If it's for respiratory, then obviously I'm going to take and apply those to the chest area. If it's a supplement, I'm just going to take it and utilize it how I know how to utilize it. And so let's see here. So that's how that works. And then I want to talk about the emotions tab, because this is actually quite genius. And if you've followed my page or you've seen my education for any length of time, you know that I am very big on how our emotions are connected to our physical health. And there's a lot of great resources out there on this. If you want them, let me know. But there's a lot of really cool ways that our emotions affect our physical health, good and bad. And so in these ancient modalities and ways of medicine, what they did was they found how different body systems are connected to specific emotions. And so, for instance, what they would always say was lungs are the seat of grief. And so what I've seen, like I've seen sometimes where people end up in the hospital with lung issues, and I'm like, did you have something really sad happen recently? And then one person was like, yeah, my grandma just died. And so we can see the connection. So I really like that this shows the connection between the emotional parts, because in my experience, we've had so many people who are very, they're doing all the right things physically and they're not getting any better. And it's not until we really address the emotional roots of things that we get somewhere in a lot of situations. So I love that we can address both of those utilizing this app. So you can see that some of the products that came up under the respiratory category also came up under the sadness category. And that just, you know, shows that connection between the emotions and the physical health. So this is an example of what a report would look like. And this is obviously for if you choose Young Living when you buy the Itobi, and so I don't have examples of the other companies. You can only choose one, and I'm not sure what their policy is on switching the app at any time to a different company, so that would be something to check with them on. And so what I would do is I would look at this, and just based on what I know, I would say, okay, so we have Aroma Life and a Calm CBD roll-on. We also have PD 8020, and which I know is something that helps support the body's hormones in response to stress and things like that. And Aroma Life is a very calming oil that we apply over the heart to just really calm the body and the heart down. And obviously Calm CBD roll-on would have the same effects. So in this situation, I would just, you know, kind of say, hey, like, is there any stress going on that we need to help the body work through as well? And just trying to say, like, what do we have that will help you calm your mind down and your heart down, and maybe your blood pressure and things like that in that situation. So what we're doing is we're like looking for these common denominators. And when we first had this product, we did not have the different categories. The app just came up with the report and nothing else. It didn't have body systems broken down. It didn't have emotions broken down. So that's what we got accustomed to doing, was looking at it and saying, what can we put together in this that the body is really saying and what's going on? We still do that, but we don't have to because it has it broken down now. So anybody can use this. And you just look at it, and sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't. But I will tell you what, if you just do what it says, you will see better results. So that's kind of just a little thing to consider. On the topic of emotions and physical health things. So we talked about how the lungs are the seat of grief. The liver is also connected to anger or stress or resentment or things like that. And so sometimes we will see, and there's not a category for liver under the body systems. And so we usually see those come up under digestive. And so sometimes some of the products that come up under digestive will also come up in the anger category of the emotions part. So just some fun, interesting things for you there. And one of the things that I want to just encourage you to consider is, you know, like I said, if you're like, I don't have any of these products of any of those 4 companies and I don't plan to or whatever, you can still utilize the information and put it together, and it won't be as beneficial, but you can still say these are the body systems and stuff. What I will say is that when I do scans for people, I have done some where I have specifically picked for just supplements to come up, because when I'm using Young Living on this, Young Living has over 600 products, and there's supplements, there's oils, there are hormone supporting, you know, creams and serums and things like that. And so because it's such a wide range, sometimes I want to break it down and I just want to say, what are the supplements that we should be doing? When you look at the results on here, the company recommends that for supplements that come up, they're generally ones that you should be utilizing for a week to 1 to 4 weeks, and then rescanning. When it's the essential oils, then it's more like, you know, you can scan more often and change it up as much as you want. You can do that with supplements too, but obviously with supplements, those are more long-term things that we need to utilize in order to see results. So just kind of knowing that. What I will say is that when I'm utilizing it, I'm using Young Living with it because the variety of products is so much wider that I get a better picture of what's going on and I get better options. When I do these scans, I have to sometimes do a scan separately, and you can have, there's different options depending on what company you're utilizing it with, but there's different options to select only certain categories of products. And what I notice is sometimes I have to just do a separate scan for supplements, because when I'm doing scans, this is true in the majority of situations, only oils will come up. And in researching that, what I've concluded is that essential oils, these essential oils are so supportive of all body systems that they are a first method of any kind of therapy or anything like that for the body. There are ways that they access the deepest root parts of our body. So for instance, if I am scanning somebody who I know has thyroid issues, I would generally, in my mind, expect to see some of the thyroid supporting products come up. But sometimes what I see is it going deeper and bringing up products that are going all the way back to the pineal and pituitary parts of the brain, which is where the very beginning of any type of thyroid or reproductive hormone formation, creation processes start. So sometimes we see it just going all the way back to the beginning or the root, things like that. And without knowing that, we probably would think that it doesn't make any sense, and that's okay. We don't have to know it. We can just utilize whatever we have on hand. And so for instance, if this came up and it said eucalyptus and peppermint, and I didn't have either of those, I would look for any blends that I have that contain those and utilize those. So it's very adaptable in that way. Not saying that it's going to be as good of results, but that's just how we work with it, and it works good. So when there are scans, sometimes the products that come up are, oh, that's my squishy guy getting a scan. My kids are so used to it. They just are so great about it. We scan once a week just to kind of see what we should be using every day for that week, just to really support their body. But we do still use our regular supplements. So the supplements that I'm on, you know, the B, Super B, and I'm on lots of vitamin C and probiotics and all these things. They might not come up on here. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop taking them. That means that my body's doing well with them. If they came up on here, then that would tell me that my body actually needs more. And I need to increase, even just temporarily, while my body needs it. So for instance, sometimes if I'm under extra stress, something that I'm taking like the Super B, which helps our body in times of stress, because our bodies tend to go through more B vitamins when we're under stress, that might come up, and I just know that I need to take more of it. So a lot of the things that I take every day don't come up on here, and my body's doing well with them, and I'm going to keep it that way. So that's just kind of how that works. I had something, let me see here. I had something to show how to show about the pricing and things like that. And I'm so sorry. And I feel just so bummed that I don't have those slides up for you guys. So I will see if I can just put that together in a post. I'll do that and put it in the events page for this event. But the Itovi company, actually, I contacted them and told them what I was doing to share this with you guys. And they're extending, what was it? They are extending a special deal for anybody who participated in this webinar. So there's going to be some really cool options. There are, and that goes through the 29th, I think they said. So I will get that information out. There are different options when you're purchasing it. So in order to have the service turned on, there's generally a monthly service fee. And that monthly service fee is, I think it's $39.99 a month, and you can go, I'm going to have it on, and then you decide, like, I'm not going to use it for a month, so you can turn it off or whatever. There are ways that you can get that down. So right now I pay $9.99 a month, because with 5 referrals, you'll knock it down to $9.99 a month. There's also a different purchasing option where you basically pay a lump sum all up front, and then you don't have to pay the monthly service fee ever, and you just can have the service on as long as you want, as often as you want, and things like that. So there's no limit to how many scans you can do on either plan. So the device itself is like, I don't want to get this wrong. I really have this information in the thing. I think the device itself is like, I want to say $40 or $50. And then you can either do the monthly plan or have the lump sum payment in what's called their lifetime option. And so I will get those amounts put up in the events page. And oh, let's see here. Yes, the cost is $49.99, which is a one-time fee. It doesn't include shipping. So then it's either $39.99 a month for any month that you have the service turned on after that, or you can do a $780 one-time fee, and then that's it, and you're done. But for this event, they have given me a code. It's event40, and that's going to take $50 off of the lump sum, the lifetime option, or $25 off the monthly option, which is basically like getting this for half price then. So that's how they work it. And they've been a great company to work with. I think I've had this, so this is the second device that we have had. We had one when they first came out with it, and it was a different device. I actually still have it, and they've upgraded it. And when they were in the process of upgrading, we were without it for a while, and it was really hard. I was surprised at how difficult it was to be without it after we had gotten accustomed to having it in our daily life. And so, you know, there's situations like anytime something comes up, if you think about like over the course of the last month, what has come up where you went, I would really benefit from knowing the best ways to use these products, or to what products my body could really benefit from, or my child or my grandchild or something like that. And I carry it in my purse because everywhere I go, somebody's like, can I have a scan? And so I go get my hair done, and my hairstylist asks, did you bring your iTowie? Yes, I brought it. When I go visit my mom, when I go visit my, my friends, they ask, do you have it with? Yes, I have it with, because they found it really beneficial to have that information. And so, but I personally really prefer it in those moments, especially with kids at home, and something comes up, maybe they fall. One time my youngest got a concussion, and that really scared me. That was the first time with 6 kids that we had dealt with that. And I just really wanted to see how I could support him, in addition to whether he needed medical treatment or not. And so we ran a scan, and we used the things that came up on the scan, and he was better within a half an hour, and we never saw any more effects from the concussion. We had utilized the products, and then we went to a chiropractor and had him checked out, and she had seen the impact and made sure everything was okay with that, and straightened him up, and everything was good. So it's just been incredibly valuable, especially with kids, because you just never know what they're going to do. So I'm going to turn off this share. And if you guys have any questions, you can let me know. You can unmute yourself, or you can throw them in the chat. You can also post them in the events page or message me, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I hope that was enough information for you guys. I just want you to know that you don't have to know what I know, or, I really don't know that much. I've just learned from doing. But when you have the results, you just utilize them, and you look at the products and say, like, I don't have those. What do I have that could be complementary to that, or similar to that, or something like that? And then utilize those. So it's a really, really great starting point. And some people will message me and they'll be like, it just really didn't make any sense. And I'm like, it really doesn't make any sense sometimes, but you just need to do it. So sometimes what this has done, it has actually stimulated me to do videos or research on these, and on certain products. Like, something came up for somebody, and they're like, I have no idea why this came up. And that's just because we don't know enough about that product. And so when we dig into it, we go, wow, that makes so much sense. So sometimes when you see, if you're in my Oily Friends team, and you see me do a product, like last week, or earlier this week, I did a video education on the product called Femigen. That was because it had come up on our scan so much. And a friend messaged me, and she's like, why does this keep coming up? And I'm like, we just don't know enough about it to understand. So let's dig into it a little bit more. And we did, and we were just so surprised at how much sense it made. So yes, I've got this recording right now. And so as soon as the recording is done being converted, I will post a link for you guys to check it out too, if you joined late, if you want to go back on anything. I will also get the information to you guys about the pricing that iTowie has, and things like that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that you guys might need to know to get started. It's really simple. It's really basic. If you have your smartphone, you have the device, you have what you need to just really find out what best would support your body. And I will say that I've been in so many situations where I've got messages from people, and they're not local to me, and they're like, what should I use? And I've done a lot of research on products, on natural health products. But what I found is that every body is different. And so what works for one person might not work for another person. And this is where it's hard, because when we're used to the conventional medical mindset, it's like there's one size fits all, but there really isn't, because that never really does work for anybody, because everybody is so different. And so, I would love to be able to say, like, this one thing works for that all the time. But in reality, that's just not, because we saw the video about how when things fit in the different sensors in the body, they create those electrical responses, and everybody's receptors are different. So when we're looking at that, we can just kind of get a better idea of ourselves and just really feel more empowered. And after doing it, like for the same issues that come up for certain people or for one of my kids, I would say, okay, now I know what probably is going to work for that. And so if I don't have the scanner, I can just utilize what's come up on the past or something. And it's really been a great learning tool for that as well. So if a friend says, hey, I have this going on and I can't scan them, I could say, well, I know what's come up on a scan for people like that in a lot of situations, and maybe you could try that and help. I'm not going to like recommend dosages because that's, you know, prescriptive and I don't get into that. But I do find that it's best for everybody to really just figure out what their body is telling them and what they need. And because that's just going to vary so much for different people. Like our need for vitamin C changes every day. If we're under stress, if we're sick or whatever, our body's need for it goes way up, and then it might change the next day. So this is kind of a little bit of getting out of that mindset for some people sometimes to utilize these things. But when you're using any product, you know, always just start with the recommendations on the bottle, what it says. And if there's good resources, reference books for those products, I highly recommend having those. We have those. I have an app on my phone that is a reference one, and so I can look it up and it'll tell me generally where the application sites are for that, if it's an oil or you know, and things like that. So there's it's just, and actually they have that in the app too, at least for Young Living. I don't know about the other companies. I'm sure they do, but there is that kind of resource on there. So if you were to click on the results, it would pull up the reference guides information on that too. So let's see here. Do you guys have any other questions? So I hope that was helpful, you guys. There's probably, you know, what happens is when people get it, they have some more questions, and that's totally fine. You can let me know too as they come up. But if you show me the scan results, I'll probably just tell you to just do what it says as best you can. And sometimes when you have something come up repeatedly and you don't have that, then you know that it's just time to start getting it and making sure you have it in your home. Other times we can utilize comparable products that might have the same benefits. I hope I covered everything. I'm going to be doing a follow-up one of this and I'm going to make sure the PowerPoint works for that one, but it's going to go into just kind of understanding the results a little bit more in depth, and just kind of like how exactly we look at the results and how we utilize the things that come up on the results. But again, you know, everybody has different results, and we've had people who have come up with things and they told me, and I was like, I didn't even think of that. That is great. So we're all learning together, and everybody's experiences plays into the more that we learn from each other. So it's been really cool. All right, so I don't want to utilize any more of your guys' time, but if you have any questions, you can let me know. You can reach out. I will get the information up right away on the pricing. And oh, one other thing I want to say too is whoever invited you here, if they have an iToby, they will have a referral link, and they would very much appreciate it if you use their referral link, because that could help them cut down their monthly costs if they're on the monthly plan or something. There's also a, what do you call it? Referral, a referral that you can get for people. So you can get a referral link for it, and you can share it with others. You can cut down your costs if you're on the monthly plan. So like for me, when I got it, I was like, I really could not pay the full amount up front. So my goal was to just really, after I stopped being super skeptical about it, share it with other people and get my referral costs down to the $9.99 a month. And that's what I did right away. And then after that, it's $50 for a referral for each person who gets it. And then that same applies to if you do the lifetime plan. So with the lifetime plan, it's just a straight $50. since there's no monthly fee, it doesn't have to knock that down or anything. So I hope that makes sense. I'll get that information up. But just to say that if you have somebody who has one and they invited you here, get their referral link. And if it was me, I have one for you too. And so I don't want to post it out there. So you'll have to message me for it, because I just want to make sure that everybody goes back to the person who wanted them to have this information and they get that. So have a good night, you guys. I hope that was very helpful. I hope it didn't confuse you, but I just want to say that it has been such a blessing for my family. It's given me confidence in times that I was scared and I didn't know what to do. And it's just been such a blessing in that regard. So I would love to see it in your guys' homes, and just let me know if you have any questions. Have a good night. Thank you very much for joining me.